Good morning, students. Today we have some general chemistry questions. Okay. The first question. The mineral which does not contain aluminum is? Your options: mica, feldspar, cryolite and fluorspar. See, mica is a trioxide: potassium oxide, aluminum oxide, silicon dioxide, and its formula, it is sometimes called a potassium aluminosilicate. Its formula K2O Al2O3 SiO2. So it contains aluminum. Feldspar is a trisilicate KAlSi2O3 potassium aluminosilicate, NaAlSi2O3 sodium aluminosilicate, CaAl2Si2O8 calcium aluminosilicate. Their combination is the mineral feldspar. Cryolite we are familiar with because it is used as a solvent for alumina in aluminum metallurgy, we know. Okay. Cryolite is either 3NaF-AlF3 or Na3AlF6. So that also contain aluminum. And the last one, fluorspar. Fluorspar is ore of calcium and fluorine, CaF2. Okay. So our answer is option 4. It does not contain aluminum. We proceed to the next question. The increasing order of purity of samples of iron. Here 4 samples of iron are mentioned: pig iron, wrought iron, cast iron and stainless steel. Okay. See, pig iron is the crudest form of iron obtained directly from blast furnace. Okay, that is called pig iron. It contains maximum carbon content. Why it contains so much carbon? Because in the metallurgical process, to reduce oxides of iron, we use carbon. So that carbon will remain dissolved in the molten iron, and so carbon content will be comparatively high in pig iron. Okay. Then comes cast iron. Cast iron is obtained from pig iron by removing some carbon through oxidation. So compared to pig iron, cast iron contains less carbon. Pig iron and cast iron are both hard and brittle. Pig iron will be the most brittle due to the highest carbon content. Cast iron is used for casting purposes to make molds, etc. That's why it is called cast iron. Then third is wrought iron. It is having even less content of carbon, and wrought iron is considered to be the commercially pure form of iron. And stainless steel is obtained from any of these iron by removing carbon almost completely and then adding carbon as per requirement. See, there are countless numbers of varieties of steel, and they will have different percentages of carbon to suit definite properties. So in stainless steel, carbon content will be the least. So to conclude, pig iron 3 to 4% carbon, maximum carbon content, and so least pure. Then comes cast iron, 2.4 to 3% carbon, and second purest, second crudest. Then wrought iron, it contains 1.2 to 2.5% carbon, and stainless steel is generally having carbon content less than 1.2%. So it must be considered as the purest form. Okay. Now we proceed to the next one. Which of the following is not a carbonate ore? Witherite, limonite, cerussite and celestine. See, witherite is barium carbonate, limonite is iron carbonate, cerussite is lead carbonate and celestine is strontium sulfate. So strontium sulfate alone is not a carbonate. So that must be answer. There are some additional carbonates mentioned here: witherite barium carbonate, limonite for iron carbonate, ferrous carbonate, cerussite PbCO3. Dolomite is a double carbonate of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate combination is dolomite. Magnesite is magnesium carbonate alone, Malachite is CuCO3 CuOH twice. It is called a basic copper carbonate because copric hydroxide has some basic property. That's why it is called a basic copper carbonate. Smithsonite, zinc carbonate. Calamine, zinc carbonate. So please remember, smithsonite and calamine are two different structurally different ores of zinc. Strontianite is strontium carbonate, as the very name suggests, strontium carbonate. Azurite is also a basic copper carbonate. Here the difference is that in malachite there is one copper carbonate combined with one copper hydroxide, whereas in azurite two copper carbonates is combined with one copper hydroxide. That's the difference. Please remember that. Okay, we proceed to the next one. The most common method to extract lead. See, lead is mainly obtained from galena. Galena means PBS. Okay, so it is called self-reduction. The reason is understood from the next page. Look here. Self-reduction is the best method for obtaining lead. Here what we do, lead sulfide is partly oxidized. So a part of lead sulfide become lead oxide and the sulfur in it is converted to sulfur dioxide. 2 PbS plus 3O2 giving 2 PbO plus 2 SO2. And once we stop this and we heat the mixture, the newly formed lead oxide react with the remaining lead sulfide. We shouldn't complete the process in the previous step, so that for every two-third must be converted to lead oxide. So one-third remains as PbS, two-third converted to PbO. So in the next step of heating, what happens? This undergo auto oxidation reduction reaction like 2 PbO plus PbS giving 3 Pb plus SO2. Similar reaction we study for copper also. Okay, so self reduction is considered to be the best method. Okay, next, which of the following reaction does not take place? Mercuric ion reduced to mercurous ion by Sn2 plus. There I have given the full formula, but now, I am mentioning it as the ionic form. Look there, mercuric ion reacts with the stannous chloride, whereby mercuric ion converted to mercurous chloride, which gets precipitated, and stannous ion converted to stannic ion. So here we conclude that stannous ion acts as a reducing agent, or mercury is less metallic than tin and accepts electron from stannous to become mercurous. Okay, so here stannous ion is a stronger reducing agent. So it reduces mercuric ion to mercurous ion. Next, again SnCl2 can even reduce mercurous chloride to mercury. So we may say that reaction 2 is a continuation of the first reaction. Mercurous is further reduced to free mercury by stannous chloride. So if you carry out a prolonged reaction between mercuric ion and stannous chloride, we eventually get free mercury and stannic chloride, SnCl4. These two happens naturally. Third one, I2 plus Sn2 plus stannous ion giving 2I minus plus Sn4 plus. This also happen naturally. Okay, only from familiarity we can answer this question. We cannot simply look into the equation and say whether this will happen or not. Only familiarity helps us to answer such questions. So familiarity and remembrance is a must. Look at the last one. Actually, even if you don't know 1, 2 and 3, you are supposed to be familiar with the last equation, because we know that carbon family last two members are tin and lead, and we know that lead has more inert pair effect than tin. So Pb4 plus become Pb2 plus more easily than Sn4 plus become Sn2 plus. Don't you agree? Sn4 plus become Sn2 plus less willingly than Pb4 plus become Pb2 plus. So naturally, if you react Pb2 plus with Sn4 plus, there will not be any reaction. But if you treat Sn2 plus plus Pb4 plus, Sn2 plus donates its electron to Pb4 plus so that Pb4 plus can become Pb2 plus in accordance with its inert pair effect. So for the last reaction, reverse reaction is more prone to happen. So our answer will be 4. Please make by heart the other 3 reactions, which if you are not familiar, most probably you are not familiar with. Okay. The next one. No, the explanation is given. Sn2 plus is a common reducing agent, whereas Pb4 plus preferably act as an oxidizing agent. This is because Pb being heavier element of the carbon family has higher inert pair effect than Sn4 plus. So here the reverse reaction is favored. That reverse reaction is shown here. Pb4 plus plus Sn2 plus giving Pb2 plus plus Sn4 plus. Hope you understood this. See, sometimes for entrance it may happen that 3 of the options we are not much sure, but 4th one is a sure case, then we can directly choose. Okay. Then hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through dilute nitric acid solution. Among the products formed, 2 are. See, nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent, and so dilute nitric acid can oxidize hydrogen sulfide to free sulfur, and NO2 HNO3 itself get reduced to NO2 gas. How? Look at this reaction. Make that by heart. If 2 HNO3 plus H2S giving 2 NO2 plus 2 H2O plus S. But you must also remember, if you are using concentrated nitric acid under boiling condition, the sulfur thus formed will further react, and it will get first converted to SO2, then converted to SO3, and finally become sulfuric acid. If we are using boiling nitric acid, concentrated nitric acid, the forthcoming reaction will happen. H2S plus 8 HNO3 giving you H2SO4 plus 8 NO2 plus 4 H2O. Please remember, in both these reactions a brown gas will be evolved, which is NO2. We know. Okay. A paramagnetic compound also, NO2. The next question. When hot concentrated alkali is treated with iodine, 2 products are formed. See, even though this reaction as such we are not studying, we are studying the reaction of dilute NaOH and concentrated NaOH with the chlorine. So we can extend the similar idea to iodine, and the reaction is similar too. When hot concentration alkali is used along with iodine, iodine is converted to iodide and IO3 minus ion. I minus and IO3 minus ion. IO3 minus ion is called iodate. So iodide and iodate will be your answer, because chlorine was converted to chloride and chlorate. If you are using cold dilute alkali, we get chloride and hypochlorite, OCl minus. Here ClO3 minus, that's the difference. Okay, so please distinguish between them. If you are using cold dilute NaOH, we get a halogen halide is common in both, X minus, I minus or Cl minus. But if you are using cold one, less oxidation take place, so you get ClO minus. If you are using hot concentrated one, you get to the highly oxidized ClO3 minus or IO3 minus. You will see in the next page. See, 6 OH minus plus 3 I2 giving 5 I minus plus IO3 minus plus 3 H2O. Note, with the cold dilute alkali, it produces iodide and hypoiodite. So please make both these equations by heart. 2 OH minus plus I2 giving IO minus plus I minus plus H2O. To make you familiar with the names, please remember IO minus is called hypoiodite, IO2 minus is called iodite, IO3 minus is called iodate, and IO4 minus is called iodate. You can remember these names without fail this way. Please listen. See, please remember these two first, iodite and iodate. Whenever the oxidation state is high, oxidation state of the central atom is high, we use ATE. When the oxidation state is low, we use ITE. For example, nitrite, nitrate, sulfite, sulfate, like that. Similar rule is applied for iodite and iodate. So the middle two ones are iodite and iodate. When for a lower state we use hypo, and for a higher state, still higher state, we use hyper. So that oxidation state which is lower than in iodite is called hypoiodite. Oxidation state of I is there +1. In IO2 minus it is +3. In IO3 minus it is +5. And in IO4 minus it is +7. So here iodite is having +3, iodate is having +5. So +1, which is a lower state than iodite, is called hypoiodate, whereas +7 is higher than +5. So above iodate, so hyperiodate, but we use periodate. This is the way the names came. Hope you understood that. Okay, we proceed to the next. Methane are beryllium carbide, silicon carbide, aluminium carbide, magnesium carbide, calcium carbide, beryllium carbide, aluminium carbide. Please make yourself familiar with the reactions of all these carbides with water. See, beryllium formulas are also different. Beryllium carbide is Be2C, aluminium carbide is Al4C3, magnesium carbide is Mg2C3, calcium carbide is CaC2, silicon carbide is SiC, and boron carbide is B4C. See, all those formulas are different. If we consider them as A2B, AB2, etc., all are different and they react differently with water. Please see, make them by heart. Beryllium carbide react with water forming beryllium hydroxide and methane. Aluminium carbide follows suit. It also react with water producing methane along with aluminium hydroxide. Magnesium carbide with the 3 carbon forms propyne. Please remember, aluminium carbide as well as magnesium carbide contain 3 carbon per molecule, but magnesium carbide is forming propyne, whereas aluminium carbide is producing 3 methane. So please remember them. Now calcium carbide. Calcium carbide react with water producing acetylene. We have studied that as the method of preparation for acetylene. Now silicon carbide and boron carbide. These two are very hard material with a strong structure. Silicon carbide resembles diamond in structure. No, both of them have no reaction with the water at all. So our answer for the question will be that option suggesting beryllium carbide and aluminium carbide, not boron carbide. Beryllium carbide and aluminium carbide combination is our answer. Answer 4. We proceed to the next one. Question number 9. N2O5 can exist as an ionic pair. Here nitrogen atom exists in cation and anion in the hybridization states of. You are given different options. We will check them. Look at the structures of these. See, NO2 plus. NO2 plus is linear with the central sulfur atom, nitrogen atom in sp hybridization. If you remember carbon dioxide, to have sp hybridized carbon, you can extend that logic over here. See, when nitrogen atom loses one electron, it becomes electronically similar to carbon atom. That's why structure of carbon dioxide is similar to NO2. Okay, because N plus and carbon are having same number of electron. So NO2 plus is structurally similar to CO2. Then the structure of NO3 minus, that we are familiar. NO2 minus as well as NO3 minus, we know to have planar structure with the sp2 hybridized carbon center. So here the ionization ionic pair is formed as NO2 plus NO3 minus, where in NO2 plus the central nitrogen atom is in sp hybridization, whereas in NO3 minus the central nitrogen atom is in sp2 hybridization. Please remember that. Okay. Now the last question. Which statement about nitrous oxide are wrong? Which statements about nitrous oxide are wrong? 1. It is nitrogen 1 oxide. Yes, it is nitrogen 1 oxide. Its formula is N2O. So average oxidation state of each nitrogen is +1. Correct. It is not a greenhouse gas. It is wrong. It is a greenhouse gas, nearly 300 times potent as carbon dioxide. So it is very dangerous. It is obtained by the thermal decomposition of ammonium nitrite. No. If you remember, ammonium nitrite will decompose to N2 and H2O. Only if you take ammonium nitrate, ATE, and NH4NO3, laughing gas is formed or nitrous oxide is formed. It is used as an anesthetic, correct? It affects the central nervous system temporarily and so can be used as an anesthetic. It has a bend structure, wrong. It has a linear structure. We will see that in the next page. So our answer will be 2, 3, 5. We will check that in the next page. It is 1 oxide because the average oxidation state of each nitrogen is +1. It is a greenhouse gas with greater persistence and nearly 300 times potent than CO2. It is obtained by the thermal decomposition of ammonium nitrate and not ammonium nitrite as NH4NO3 upon decomposition giving you the laughing gas and 2H2O, whereas ammonium nitrate upon decomposition gives you nitrogen and water. That oxygen makes the extra oxygen makes the difference. It is used as a general anesthetic. General anesthetic means to make you unconscious. Okay. It has linear structure since central nitrogen atom is sp hybridized. Look at that structure. Here N triple bond N and one lone pair of electron on nitrogen is coordinated to oxygen, so the net structure is linear. It has a resonating structure where both N double bond and double bond is on both sides of nitrogen, and central nitrogen will have a plus charge. Please try to write the structure. Okay, so I think this discussion is over.